Hello, welcome to Kim and Friends, where we laugh through the chaos, cry whenever the hell we feel like it, and always keep it real. Because as women, the conversations we have and the stories we share behind closed doors need to be heard out in the wild. I'm Kim, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen today. I really hope something resonates with you. Hi, how is everybody? I have been procrastinating recording this Minisode because, I don't know, for a bunch of reasons. And I don't know if any of the conscious reasons are accurate or if there's some subconscious thing going on here too, but I really don't have much prepared as far as what I'm going to say. So who knows if this will even see the light of day. I might end up trashing it and re-recording. But this is the last episode of season 2 of Kim and Friends. I am taking another couple-month break to get Edna through her last month of 8th grade. Lots of excitement with dances and plays and concerts and graduations and celebrations. And she and I have been talking a lot about transitions in life and just when you're living in those bittersweet moments. She's really excited to go to high school. I'm really excited for her too. But it just seems that life is always handing us change, right? And it's had me thinking, and I haven't really said this to her because I try to not constantly bring it back to me, or certainly I don't want to minimize her feelings, but sometimes it feels like when I talk about, well, you're still going to have this when you're an adult or this or that it might make her feel like I'm minimizing what she's going through, but that's certainly not my intention. But I have been thinking a lot about how those life changes and transitions don't go away. It seems like we're always coming out of one or heading into another one. And sometimes when you're younger or, fully front lobe isn't fully formed yet, you think once I get to this place, then things will level off. And they just don't ever really level off. I'm cracking up also. I don't know how many of you watch this on YouTube, but my minisodes, you can actually visually see me, not the full length episodes, but my minisodes you can. And I always record in the most random places. Usually, sometimes at my dining room table, if I can record when no one's in the house. But a lot of times it's in Edna's room or Goose's room or sometimes even my bedroom. And the mayhem that is around me right now, you can always see this Mo Willem pigeon behind me. And it's actually one half of Goose's Halloween costume that I made for him a few years ago when he was the Mo Willems pigeon for Halloween. And then his actual room, I'm going to just turn the camera slowly so y'all can see, is just a sea of Legos and just total chaos. And that just cracks me up. Which I guess could be a good visual for what we see in the frame. Doesn't show the whole picture. I'm kind of fine in chaos. I'm not stressed about it. He'll get it cleaned up eventually. someday when I do kind of hit a breaking point and make them clean it up. But my kids are pretty good about cleaning their rooms when I buckle down on them. And I see a mess, but I also see a very, very creative brain. And I don't know, it just looks like a little boy's room. And I like that. Anywho, like I said, I didn't know what I was going to say. So as I reflect on making this podcast, Shelly can attest to this. I told her before I even recorded one episode, the moment it feels obligatory and the moment it feels overwhelming or too stressful for me, I will bail. I will stop. And I talked about that pattern that I have in life. And I wanted to break that pattern, but I also wanted to be completely honest up front that like I did not want to do a lot of prep. I wanted to be able to just schedule my friends and hit record and talk. And I wasn't going to do research and I wasn't going to have an outline because that prep work would make me anxious, would make me feel like it was an obligation, would make me stressed out, and would make me not want to do it. And then season 2, and that's sort of what season 1 was. I mean, it really was. And you can tell when you listen to the episodes, it's just these conversations. And I feel like probably if you weren't me or the other person in the conversation, that the majority of the time it was fine, but then there were probably other times where you were like, I don't even understand what they're talking about. And then I started recording for season 2. Always the big gulp too. Again, if you're not watching, 9 times out of 10 when I'm recording, this is Diet Dr. Pepper, and it's a lifeline. Season 2, it wasn't the first episode. I recorded out of order, but I recorded with Susie. And my wonderful friend Susie is not a fly by the seat of your pants type of girl in the best way. This woman loves her research. She loves her prep. She does not want to be surprised. She does not want to be taken off guard. And it was so important to me to have her on the podcast. And I remember, I think we even talked about it in the episode. I asked her to do it early on. Like I thought for sure, like Susie's going to be one of my first like 2, 3, 5 friends that I have on. And she was like, not right now. Not right now. I have some more things that I want to do to like get my business off the ground. My focus is somewhere else. And I was like, oh, okay. And of course was fine with that. But it was just like, took me a minute to be like, oh, okay, well, we're going to do this in her time, which of course is fine. But then when we were deciding to record and when I knew I couldn't, I mean, I could have asked her to just hop on here and record, but I knew she wouldn't be comfortable with that. And the last thing I want is for any of my guests to not feel comfortable. So I created this outline for her on Google Docs and I sent it to her and we bounced it back and forth, you know, what she wanted to talk about, what she didn't, questions I kind of wanted to address. She was able to like, I don't think she even actually took anything out, but was able to say like, yes, this is fine, or I'll talk about this to this point or whatever. Well, lo and behold, that outline became a template for me. And I continued to just copy paste, open a new Google Doc, put it in, change the names. It grew, it morphed. I included a lot more information about what they would need to do to prep when they were recording, what they would want to have, what would provide the best sound, the date that it would air. And what I thought would become a hindrance to me or feel like an obligation or make me not want to do it anymore actually resulted in a really, really solid routine. And I think through season 1, I was way more stressed about scheduling the recordings, getting the recordings. I would have a lot of like anxiety leading up to them. And many times it did feel like obligatory. And I was like, I'm not going to quit this. I'm pushing through. And then the very thing that I thought would hinder me sort of relieved me of that. And now that I had this outline, which thanks to Susie exists now, the outline has provided me so much more ease with the recording process. Now, don't get me wrong. I still record last minute. I still not probably, frustrate. Well, they haven't told me that I frustrate them, so I shouldn't say definitely. But, Jordan and Shelly and Jody and the people that make sure the episodes go up and they handle all the editing, I'm sure I've provided them a tiny bit of stress with last minute recording. Case in point, right now, what I am recording on Monday afternoon/evening here in St. Louis, we're on the cusp of some sort of monumental storm, possible tornado. They're saying there's going to be like baseball size hail. The kids got out of school 2 hours early. All of the districts have been letting out early. There's been tornado warnings going off, and then they cancel it and then they move it. And now, like earlier today, we were supposed to receive like all this horrible weather between like 3 and 4. Now it's 4:15. It looks like it's not going to start till 6. So there's like this impending storm. So I had already messaged them and said, I'm going to record midday Monday. I had a wild weekend at work. And then now all of a sudden the kids are getting let out early. So I'm having to deal with all that. And Shelly's having to say, hey, are you going to record? I'm like, yes, I'm going to record. The day took a turn. And then, a part of me was procrastinating too, because I wasn't feeling like super focused about the topic. But I will say another thing that we talked about this season, and it was in Dr. Jenny's episode, was about me getting my hormones balanced. And that started, late fall of 2024. And I am still recognizing the benefits and the changes. One being a few weeks ago, it stopped me in my tracks that shame is not a go-to emotion or feeling for me anymore. Let me explain. Shame has been a guiding emotion for me, and I guess you could call it guilt also. But I think shame is more all-encompassing. Sometimes I assign guilt to like how I may or may not be making someone else feel. And I can certainly feel ashamed when I've hurt someone or when I think I might have damaged someone, but I think shame is more internal, breaking expectations we have for ourselves or disappointing ourselves. And for a great while, I would still experience shame, but I was able to name it, identify it, distill it down, usually talk to someone I trust about it, and that would be the death of the shame. And I learned that from Brene Brown, that like speaking truth into shame is what kills it. And sometime in the past few weeks, I've realized that I haven't been defaulting to it anymore. Even though I had learned how to like distill it down and address it, it's no longer become a default mode for me. And I know that I had it when I was recording season 1 because I can remember distinctly about times feeling ashamed because of procrastination or what have you. I would like to note that I have never felt shame or been embarrassed, or like any time I listen back to any of the episodes, it is very clearly exactly what it was supposed to be on that day at that time. And I will have moments where I'm like, did I feel dumb or did I sound dumb? And then I listen back and I'm like, no, I don't think I sound dumb. I do say the word like too much, but I don't think I sound dumb. Certainly don't think any of my guests ever do. And I always just get very sentimental, feel very appreciative of what my guests offer up in their episodes. So that's a big deal. I know that the present is the most important moment, so I don't want to say like, yay, check mark, I've beat the shame game. I certainly know that's not how it works. But right now, right here today, I seem to have my shame default mode under control, which feels good. And like I'm still sort of hovering between a type A and a type B person. Some things in my life are so focused and regimented and, you know, I have them under control. And then other things, I'm just a train wreck. I went to the car wash the other day and I could not find my car key anywhere in my purse. Like, I'm like digging and digging and digging. These guys are like waiting to vacuum. I'm like, I'm looking for my key. I'm looking for my key. I'm sorry, I can't find my key. I finally just pulled my wallet out of my purse, shoved my purse up behind the back window. And I was like, well, the key's obviously in there somewhere. So I'm just going to leave my purse with you guys. And it just cracked me up because I still, you know, hold down a professional job. I am on time. I'm competent, more than competent, handle my shit professionally so well. But I don't know where my car key is. And I can also go to the grocery store with a list and somehow manage to leave the store without things that are on my list. Yeah. Humans are complicated people. And I tell myself that I have things under control to the point to where it doesn't like negatively affect people around me. I think that is true for the most part. I think there's definitely some negative repercussions for my family from time to time. Probably like minimally negative. Like it's not like majorly harming them, but I can definitely see my husband get very frustrated when I forget the same two things from the grocery store for like a month. Or I'm having to rush to the pharmacy before it closes to get Goose's meds or but hey, he rarely misses his meds. So it's kind of fun to see the parallels in how I've changed and how it coincides with the recording of these past two seasons. And it's kind of interesting that I'm recording this while there's like an impending storm. Because I think along with my growth, over the past two seasons, there can be, I try not to allow there to be, but there definitely can be a waiting for the shoe to drop. Like, when am I going to mess this up? Or when is life going to throw up a roadblock or a speed bump that I don't know how I'm going to handle? Because I've sort of been on this steady upward trajectory with the hormone replacement, with that middle-aged grounding sense of self, with just doubling down on being unapologetically myself with feeling like I have a better handle than I ever have on my shame. And again, it just comes back to that presence and being in every moment and letting it be what it is and not devaluing it or ruining it by thinking about what's to come or what might be on the other side when things don't feel like they're on an upward trajectory, or when you do hit those more cyclical moments or roadblocks, or when a thought pattern or a shame spiral that you thought you'd had under control for so long, rears its ugly head and resurfaces. And I shared a quote on my Instagram the other day, and it's a widely known quote. I had heard it before. I hadn't heard it quite the same way I did recently, but I'll just share it on here. And it's Bruce Lee. And he's talking about, somebody asked him, how do you have peace? Or how do you find peace? And he said, you don't find peace. You choose it by what you ignore, by what you release, by what you stop giving energy to. And that's important to think about. Ignoring, releasing, stop giving energy to. When you think about finding peace, it's like you're seeking things out. You're trying to give energy to or stay hypervigilant or latch on to more things in the hopes that they will give you peace or that you will find peace in those things. And he flips that on its head. And you choose it by releasing, by ignoring, by being selective with where you put your energy. It's an internal choice rather than an external circumstance. And I'm feeling pretty damn peaceful these days. Yeah. So again, I'm just going to appreciate that peace in the moment that it exists and try not to think about the impending storm that inevitably comes, just like I'm sitting here right now, waiting for a literal storm. I'm excited for season 3. It already has a theme. I've already figured out the majority of my guests. I have yet to ask these guests whether or not they'll be on. So if they're listening right now and hearing this, consider this your invitation. Please reach out so we can schedule. And it will be the season of the women who made me. Probably start with a Minisode, and then Claire will be on, because Bestie Claire is always my first full length of every season, but I'm going to ask her sister to come on as well, because in the following full length episodes, you will hear from both of my sisters, Ruthie and Pam. And then I also want to talk to both of their lifetime childhood best friends. Ruthie's Ruthie's best friend's name is Stephanie. And then Pam's best friend's name is Larissa. And I also, after multiple times asking my mom to record, sat her down and told her about the theme for season 3. And I said, I'm not asking you. I need you to do this. I need you to close out my season, and I need you to come on my podcast. And she rolled her eyes, but she's going to do it. So I'm really, really, really excited for all of you to hear from her. So I would love if anyone who wants to would just share what questions you think I should ask them. Maybe some of you have, lost a longtime friend or a sibling or your mother or your grandmother, and there's things that you wish you would have asked them, that you wish that you knew. So send those questions my way. And I can also put a poll up on Instagram and hopefully continue to sort of plant those seeds over the next few months, because I would really, really, really like to develop a good, clear outline of what I can ask all these women, because I'm the youngest of 3 girls. So my older sisters and their best friends that were constants in my house from the time I was born are very, very much woven into who I am and who I've become. And their approval and even their time, when they would let me tag along or would let me hang out during the sleepover, or just youngest will relate to this. When you're the youngest, those are like defining core memories from your childhood. And if you've been listening for any time at all, you've heard multiple times what a just complete and utter badass our mother is. And, she's 79, going to be 80 years old in February of 2027. She's lived a lot of life, and she's seen a lot of things. And she's stayed so true to her essence of kindness and love as an action. And she's just, the definition of the word altruistic. Such a giver, and not to the point of martyrdom, but she just is innately, instinctually a caregiver and a nurturer. And I feel like I have a lot of that in me too. And I want to talk to her about that. But anyway, again, coming back to I did not have outlines. I thought that would be a hindrance in season 1. Susie gave me the gift of that outline. It became a necessity for all of my episodes in season 2. And I think you can see the difference. I appreciate so much everyone who's been listening for one episode, or every episode since day 1, or anything in between, whether you're just silently listening and I have no idea, or you are interacting on socials, or texting me or texting the guests and giving your feedback. I appreciate you endlessly, because I really, really enjoy recording for Kim and Friends. And I really, really appreciate the small audience that it resonates with. So now, no matter what level of investment you have, if you have a question that you think I should ask all of them, I really think it would be cool to continue with that standard outline and have of course we'll divert and we'll talk about our own personal relationships, but I want to continue with that standard. So if over the coming months, if you could help me develop that outline for season 3, and we can dive deep into the women that made me in season 3. I'm very excited for that. And as always, you can find me at Kim and Friends podcast, at Kim Moves _unfiltered. I'm also pretty present on there on Instagram as well, and where I share a lot of my fitness journey. And I hope you have a wonderful May and June as we close out the spring and we move into summer. And I look forward to, and I am excited to kick things off. Season 3 will start the first Tuesday in July with the women who made me. Thank you so much, everybody. I love you all. Bye.